Hello and welcome to another episode of Pastor's Library. This is the channel where we discuss everything to do with Christian books, theology books, books particularly that might be on a reading list for a university or seminary course, or books that you might just have seen in your pastor's own office or vicar's office and you just want to know more. So if you like what we have to say, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Please remember to subscribe and to click on the bell, and that way you will be notified the minute we launch a new episode, so you won't miss a thing. And we really do appreciate your support on this channel, believe me, it's great to see it. Do remember to leave any comments underneath. I try to answer everyone, so God bless you and thank you. Today I want to talk about a standalone commentary. I think I bought it because I read someone's list of books that they were planning to read this year. I can't remember who it was now, but they commented on the Gospel of John by David Ford. I ordered it and this is it. It's a hardback commentary with a very pleasant slipcover and quite a basic hardcover, sort of red and black. This commentary has got a bit of a story about it. David Ford claims to have been working on this for almost 20 years. He was actually engaged by Westminster John Knox to produce a commentary for the Belief series. When he'd written something that was twice the size of one of those books, he decided that it was time to carry on producing the commentary, but not as part of that series. So there's a bit of a story about it, as you can tell. It's also interesting, it's got an epilogue, which talks a little bit more about his journey with the book. I suppose what I would say to you about this commentary is that it isn't a typical verse-by-verse commentary. Neither is it going out of the way to just discuss the theology of John, although it does that. But this is a theologian, David Ford, considering the key points that are apparent to him in the theology of John. He brings in the theology of the book, he brings in a little bit of philosophy. He has obviously a great wealth of reading that he's involving in this book. Although if you read his bibliography, which is very interesting, and I have to say I bought a couple of books because of reading his bibliography, some of the books that you might have expected to be in there are not in there. Like, for example, J. Ramsey Michael's New International Commentary on the New Testament for John. But this is a man who is on a personal journey with John's Gospel, rather than just trying to produce a commentary for other Christians to read. And you are definitely plugging into his journey when you read this. And so all I can say is that the pace of this and the direction of this read to me quite differently to, for example, J. Ramsey Michael's, or perhaps the New Beacon Bible commentary, or even the Word biblical commentary. This is definitely much more like going along the river with David Ford as he punts along on the boat and he's mentioning to us the sights along the side of the river, which for him are episodes in John's Gospel. And so I would say it's a relaxing read. It isn't quite as academically intense, although this is an academic book. But this is genuinely a good experience. So I'd never read anything by him before. When I got this book, I thought, not quite sure, dipped into it. But as I pursued my review of this and started really engaging with it, I found this to be a really pleasant experience. And I don't know that a pleasant experience is what I would normally say about most commentaries. I would say, this commentary was very academic. It was It was very accessible, or other things. But this is not just accessible. It is a pleasant meandering through the pages of John. What he says in his preface is that he's looking for wisdom. And actually, you can see that. He is trying to draw out wisdom from the pages. And as you go through, you will see him doing that. Looking at some of the verses that I automatically look at in a commentary on John's Gospel, John 1 is an excellent engagement with the idea of Jesus being there in the beginning. And he's talking about this much more as who is Jesus. And he's trying to draw out what John says about his Lord. Looking in John chapter 9, I always have a look at the man born blind. I think what he has to say about that is very good. Again, he doesn't go into tremendous detail about the miracle, but what he does do is he says quite clearly that Jesus here is talking much more about seizing every opportunity to do good. And this seize every opportunity, he says, is the learning point of the passage. I think that's good. When Lazarus is being raised from the dead, he sees something which I thought was a little bit different, an excellent couple of paragraphs on the comparison between stench and glory. You know how his sister says, "By now, Lord, he stinketh," which I think means I've just slipped into King James Version in my memory. But he draws out comparisons between the stench of death and the glory. And he talks a lot about the glory of Jesus in John. In chapter 21, the only thing that I found a little bit strange is that he says that there is no real significance about Jesus using phileo and agape in his discussions with Peter about his love. He says that in the Greek, the words were used interchangeably and we shouldn't draw any meaning from that, which I suppose if I'm not to draw any meaning from that, I'm a bit disappointed. But all the same, it's a worthwhile viewpoint, and clearly he's not saying that without good reason, and sometimes it's worthwhile to consider these things. I would just say that this commentary, the Gospel of John by David F. Ford, which is entitled A Theological Commentary, I believe it does do what the title says. It is talking more about the theology, more about the underlying themes than the individual verses. But this is a very worthwhile book. I'm very glad that I saw it in someone's reading list and ordered it and got it. This is definitely an additional commentary on John's Gospel that I would consider again. Is it my favourite commentary? No, it isn't. Craig Keener, J. Ramsey Michaels, they would dominate my top two, I think, for John. But I would have to say this book should not be dismissed out of hand. This is a worthwhile commentary. It adds to the wealth of literature on John's Gospel, and it adds in a constructive way. I genuinely like this, and I think it would offer anyone a good book to quote from in essays, and this is a worthwhile volume for preachers too. So that's what I have to say. I recommend it to you. Like I say, not my best choice, but definitely a worthwhile choice. I hope you engage with it too. I hope it's a blessing to you. And until next time, I'll say goodbye. Bye.